Good evening, one and all for Simracing TV. My name is Simon Smith, and welcome to GPVWC's Race of Champions, or if you like to do an acronym, ROC, as in the skin cream. And not only are we smothering ourselves in filthy, pixelated, high-octane action here on the Simracing track, I'm joined by a couple of my little chummy wummies. This evening, I'm here with the Gameosaurus himself, Lewis McGlade.
Hello, I'm a chubby wummy now, am I? Excellent.
You can be a chummy wummy or whatever you want, although I'll probably do some Glade plug-in jokes.
Fun, great. I'm looking forward to it, Smithy. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. You can choose your fragrance whilst we announce James Kirk, who's also in the broadcast with us this evening. Hello, James.
Hello there, Simon. How are you?
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
And it looks like we are going to be exciting ourselves over the Race of Champions, where everyone's just getting themselves set up. There's potentially different cars and so on and so forth being ready for this evening, and we're doing a group format over the next 3 days, where I think we're going to be spoilt for choice, Lewis.
Yeah, obviously it's 4 different cars that we currently have, provided there's no big issues with it. You know, they're very different cars. We do technically have a 5th, which is the kart, but you know, I don't think that really counts.
Car.
It's really, really good fun. But at the moment, I mean, there's a bit of craziness going on because everyone's just left for a practice session. So, you know, that's going to be fun. But no, we've got our class structure that's going on. And obviously we're having... who are we having first? It's Redshaw...
it's going to be Redshaw, Warren, Tapper and Johnson.
Yes. That'd be fun.
That will do indeed, and then Lewis will come in and help us out with the old cameras. And was there any particular criteria that they had to do to get into this, James, at all?
Well, basically, it was taking the top level of it was the top level of drivers from all the championships. So Super League, Formula Challenge, WSS, whatever you were good at. You know, you are going to be here unless you had certain circumstances come up when we'd find someone to fill into that role for you. But apart from that, pretty much got the cream of the crop here tonight.
Well, I do like a creamy one, and to be fair, a Belgian bun could very well be on top this evening. Just getting the last couple of minutes of everything sorted out in the old practice sessions. Anyone particularly tickling your fancy, Mr. Frasier?
You see, it's kind of hard to look at the groups because I know it's been designed in such a way with all the different cars that we've got, to not really know who's going to be, moving on to the quarterfinals for tomorrow. But when it comes to different groups, I think we'll have to go through this before we go into each group. We'll have to flip a coin and see who we think's going to win it. But it's going to be a tough one to predict as to who's going to be moving on class by class and who's eventually going to go on at the end of the day to be, you know, in the group of the Race of Champions champion. Tough one to call. It's going to be completely dependent on car, I think.
I think we'll have to do the double down, and then loser takes forfeit. Go for that.
I'm totally up for that, Smithy. I'm totally up for that. Just have to discuss what the forfeit is first, you know.
Exactly.
Make sure we get that right.
There are 3 men in a room, although I don't think that forfeit would quite be a forfeit for me.
I'm scared.
Suddenly everyone's voice goes up a pitch. That's the problem. Gulp. Any particular favourite sticking out for you, Monsieur Kirkage?
Well, on paper, actually, I would think that the group which is looking strongest at the moment, the pairing looking strongest, is Super Cup champion Giuseppe Ranieri and Mike Bell. But there's one provisional thing with that, and that is that Mike Bell is there, yes, because he's done well, but he's done so well in these races because of alternative tyre strategies, and that's over a longer thing. And yeah, it was. I'd go for them personally.
Fair enough. I spoke to Mike quite a bit before this, and we were discussing that how many of his skills of things like defending and fuel management aren't really used here. So
yeah,
you know,
that's the one provisional thing. Can he bring the speed to these short races?
It'll be an interesting one. They're just moving forward through the sessions now, and hopefully we'll get a look at who's going to be popping out onto track. all up with the action. You can tweet us at the hashtag of GPVWCROC, which suspiciously looks like Gibracroc when you type it in on Twitter.
Gibracroc. Excellent.
Exactly. It's like Crocodile Dundee had a little bit of a problem with itself. A bit like that Australian who obviously was a little bit too friendly with the animals. Didn't come back, did it?
Steve.
Well.
Yeah, Stevie boy. Aww.
Rest in peace, son.
Oh, got snapped up. All essential personnel, bugger off. So it is a qualifying session. It's setting itself up. Everyone is all in different cars. See who is out on track. We've got Lewis, Redshaw and Tapper. Yeah.
Awesome.
So Tapper's in the black, Redshaw's in the white, and Redshaw's just disappeared out from my game. He's back now.
No, he's back now. Yeah.
Whew. That would have been an interesting start. So, best of 4. 3, 2, 1. Here come the lights. Tapper versus Redshaw. Round 1. Ding, ding, ding. We're off and away. And look who's gotten away not too badly. Redshaw nice and tight on the inside. But it's very deceiving to see exactly who gets the right line round these ones, Lewis.
Yeah, tough track, especially in these cars. They're a little bit bigger than what they kind of look. They're a bit luggy, really, to chuck around, but they're going around pretty well at the moment. It's just who's going to be to that first. I'm thinking that Redshaw's probably a little bit in the lead at the moment.
Yeah, because Tapper's had the quicker lines around the outside as they cross faster halfway. It's Tapper ever so slightly ahead of Redshaw, but Tapper smacks the outside wall, and that's going to lose him momentum as Redshaw also then smacks a wall and does an even worse one. These cars look like Darth Vader helmets on wheels to me as they go skidding round, and I think Redshaw's lost the back end one time too many at the moment.
Yeah, he's sliding that car around as much as he possibly can. But look at this. Look at how much Redshaw's got on Tapper at the moment. It's quite an impressive lead, considering it's a small track.
Yes, indeed. Lap 1 completed then of 2 as they continue on round. And Redshaw was ahead at the end of that first one. Tapper's cracked the wall a couple of times, and that's lost him momentum, especially on the faster sections. Redshaw may be really skidding this car around on those tight tricycle wheels, but actually he's staying the cleanest of the two as he dumps over the bridge. Tapper's coming back though, but Tapper's on the inside! And that is drama for Dowie Tapper.
Yeah, that's pretty much thrown away. Being close to Redshaw at the moment, unless Redshaw makes a mistake, he's going pretty well. Is Lewis? It's all about controlling the slide in this car because that's where the time is. He's gone a bit too deep, but it's just keeping it controlled.
Exactly, and if your name's Dowie Tapper, the last thing you want to do is be tapping it in deep. And to be fair, it's only going to end up in a sticky mess. And at the minute, 4 seconds behind, Redshaw's crossed the line, a 1:45.656. Maybe worthwhile keeping a note of those times. Tapper goes through into second position, and Redshaw gets strike 1 on that one.
Yeah, that was. It's a shame that mistake there for Tapper cost him quite a bit, but. That was an interesting start to the evening. Redshaw, bit of time left from what he could have gained, but ultimately he wins that heat. Did it pretty well.
Just moving forward to the race itself. Oh, shush! I have to turn him down. Comes through on my speakers. Quick couple of seconds there, Mr. Kirkidge. Any views on that one?
Yeah, well, it was always going to be a close one. Tapper, one of the best drivers from Formula Challenge. Redshaw, now an established Super League veteran, and I think Tapper's inexperience really not going his way in that one. Redshaw controlling the car beautifully.
Time up. It's Warren versus Johnson then. That is Ben Warren versus James Johnson. Brandon Warren versus James Johnson. I will get those two mixed up. Warren's in the white, Johnson's in the black. Ping, 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 off and away they go, and Warren got a better start than Johnson and is going right the way round the outside line, sticking 2 wheels just inside the white line and getting out of it beautifully for the outsider track. Which one do you find the hardest, Lewis, the inside or the outside?
Me personally, I'm not a fan of the inside. I find it a bit more difficult. Brandon Warren goes a bit deep turn there, but James Johnson's gone even more deep and has clouded the wall on the outside. It's a tough track. It's just so narrow, and in these cars, it's just too. When you have a slidey car, it's really, really difficult.
is a shopping trolley on wheels, and Johnson's having to take several bites at some of these corners, and that can only lose you time, hand over fist, corner after corner, and he's struggling even on the straights to line it up properly for the next one. So I'd wonder actually how he will do as they come round. Somehow he's managed to crawl it back though, so Brandon Warren must be struggling. The Australian, the American driver, who is political off the track. He's going to get political on it. I know it begins with an A. And there's not a hole involved, as Byron does to bet a hole in the wall there nearly. This is not a Pets Win Prizes guys show, but he's keeping his tyres off of the gravel, which is what he did not do last time. It's going to be closer as they come round to start the final quarter of this race.
Yeah, it's looking close between the two of them. This is going to be right down to the final turn as to who's going to be winning it, and they are looking pretty close. Who's the fastest at the moment? I have to say JJ is looking pretty good.
JJ's getting all his wheels going. Warren was a little bit pointy in the second turn on the inside loop there, and has lost out on some of the time. Now you can see Johnson's pulled out ahead. If he can just get the nice line on the inside, he could very well have this one. Indeed he does, just by half a second there. A 1:46.932, slightly, ever so slightly slower than what Redshaw done. He takes the win there. Brandon Warren second, and that seems to be a who skidded least.
Yeah, I bet you like leaving some skid marks down. But that was pretty good. Now they've got one win each. It's who's going to be moving on between the next two races to what's going to be happening. We've got Redshaw and JJ going up against each other.
Winners versus winners. So that'll be interesting. And to be fair, I think actually if anyone's going to leave some skiddy marks on the circuit, it should. Especially after the takeaways you lot all to me. Any words there, Mr. Cook?
Brandon can be proud of himself there. From results this year, I thought it was going to be a very one-sided competition, but the American held in there, so fair play to him. And I think it's going to be very close between JJ and Redshaw as to who takes their group through now.
Seconds to go. Johnson's in the black, Redshaw's in the white. Doesn't matter if you're one or the other. They're probably plastic if your name's Michael as they come off the start line. Now! Johnson gets much better launch off than Redshaw, but then seems to falter in the second gear. Redshaw goes nice and tighter into the line, and surely will be looking at quicker time second time round because you've bedded yourself in.
Yeah, there's a lot of learning on this track to do, and they haven't been given that much time to practice the track. So this is why they're somewhat of the best in GPVWC. They're picked of the best bunch, and this is where they have to show it.
Johnson's had a stonker
of
an opener there.
Yeah,
that was great, wasn't it? Taking nice, beautiful inside lines into those. A little bit slidey on that particular corner there. Don't know any of the names of this one. They just all skidding from one to the other, to be fair. But he certainly looks like he's got the legs over the Brittany at the moment.
Yeah, you've done a bit of work with Redshaw, and wow, look at this. They're pretty close at the moment, and Redshaw can pull this one back. They're both very skilled drivers. JJ completely sideways through the first turn for him on this second lap, basically the entire track. It's it's hard to say who it's looking good for at the moment.
It was 3 tenths in the way of JJ's at the end of the first tour, and he's looking very much in control in the second part. Redshaw looking quite a bit behind actually at the moment as they cross over. 1.8 the difference between them, but Johnson getting his 2 wheels inside the white line and then getting a little bit sideways in the second part. And I suppose it's so tempting as Redshaw clouts one of the outside walls in one of his quicker turns. That's not going to help him at all, and I think that may very well push things towards James Johnson's way if he wasn't smacking the barrier himself as they come out over the line. Redshaw's making a last gasp effort, but that's not worked for him. Johnson takes the victory with a 1:45.416, our fastest time so far. Both drivers improving on their first time rounds and showing class of the field.
Yeah, Redshaw just pushed a little bit too hard on that final corner. I don't know if he would have done it, but it was that push too hard on the final corner probably cost him a good amount of time.
You kind of think actually, oh shush, stupid R factor. You kind of think actually when you're a little bit behind, you do take that little extra gap and just think, floor it, and kind of hope and pray, I suppose, James.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, James Johnson's showing that he had the much more of the mature minds there. To be brutally honest, though, his team was the one who I was expecting to go through. I think Tapper will realise in the coming events that he can do a little bit better than that.
Well,
Tapper in the black.
Down, wait.
It is indeed. Tapper in the black, Warren in the whites. Who's going to be getting this one down? The lights nice and away together there. Warren's got the nice inside track and a beautiful line round turn 1, if not a little bit stoppy-starty in the middle. Oh, and then far too deep in the middle, triangulating that corner and maybe not going the fastest way round.
Yeah, it's all about... This is the thing, when you don't have too much practice on a track like this, where it's a very complicated track, it's a bit hard to do, but Brandon's actually... He's not too far behind Dowie. We know that Tapper is a very good driver. So if Brandon can get within a decent time here, then he's looking pretty good.
I've taken Tapper out once or twice in my
I know.
dutiful career.
I remember clearly.
I do try my best.
Oh, Brandon's made a mistake.
Oh, yes, he has. That is not quite the black stuff, and I think that may well have taken the heat off of Tapper. And as they come round, what's the difference between the two? 1.6 seconds at the end of lap 1.
Yeah, he just caught a bit too much curb on the inside, and he's done it again, but controlled it this time. The curbs here are pretty lethal. I've driven this track quite a bit, and you don't want to attack the curbs. They are absolutely lethal at this track, especially in cars that are as low as this. Definitely.
And what about those? Just seen Brandon Warren diving over the jump. Does that unsettle the car to the point where you're kind of riding on the seat of your pants?
On some cars, this is the thing, is that with the fact that we're using different cars here, is that on some cars, on the Caterhams, that will be something that you need to be very aware of. In these, probably not so much. But it's something that can affect you. You can spin quite easily from that.
Tapper coming round then the outside lane. Well clear this time of Brandon Warren. He'll be ruling that mistake. Tapper takes the win then. He's 1.7 clear of Brandon Warren, who actually caught up at the end, but I suppose Tapper was slightly lifting off the gas just to make sure he ensured that victory and didn't make a silly mistake right at the very end. And good racing all round there, guys.
Yeah, good redemption drive from Tapper, I think, making sure that he's showing, yes, I can be a competent teammate to James Johnson. Forming a VOD Bull team, actually, aren't they? Both of them Bob Bull associated, and I expect to see them do well next round as well, whoever they're up against.
So it's Tapper and Johnson who progress. Redshaw and Warren that sadly leave the game and do not get through. Good racing said by all. Quick tweet in from Oscar Hardwick. Money on Kenny and Florian to win overall for GPVWC ROC. Send us your tweets and we will read them out like dirty, filthy media socialite whores.
Is that really what we are?
Only on a Thursday. Especially because that'll be the final. Oh my god, I'll be all over this like buttered chicken.
Indeed, but that's a pretty good shout for who's gonna win. We've got, that's the thing, is the way it's all been lined up is that we've got many different potential champions, and also we've been told that the next group that are going through for our little shootout is Lucas, Christoph, Ari Niemanen, and Jason Muscat. So that's going to be an interesting one, obviously with the Super League champion in there. I'm not really sure which car they're driving. Well, sure we'll find out, won't we?
When it appears on the track.
Exactly. Oh, that's what they're driving. Right, okay then.
Never mind. Now, I've never really driven this Race of Champions circuit, probably because you need to be a champion of something. Somewhere.
Oh, that's not true. I've downloaded it and had a go.
What to you makes this the circuit that it is? Because it's got a little renowned fame, but actually it's like a ginormous go-kart track where you're trying to cram a car that really shouldn't be on there in it.
Well, if I can just say, I think the fact that you say it's very go-kart-like really does say why it should be for champions. Everyone fantasises about, if you put everyone in the same car and on the same track, who would be faster. That's exactly the point of this track, taking drivers back to their roots in real life, karting, all that, and seeing really who has the good reflexes and the nerve to be able to push their car to the maximum around what is a very tight circuit.
Yeah, facts, man. What's going on? It's a tight track, it's a tough track, and that's why we chuck good drivers, talented, the best of the best around there, and Well, that's why we can get some interesting races, and hopefully this one's going to be pretty good. Harry Neiman on Lucas Euler.
This is going to be Clash of the Titans. It's like as if I was doing some kind of aerobic exercise and both my moobs met in the middle. Neiman in the black. There's a vision for all. Neiman in the black, Euler in the white. We shall soon see what on earth prevails here, and they're in the super buggies again. So, lights are on. 2 laps of the ROC track is ready to go. And Neiman doesn't get quite away as beautifully as Euler in the middle stages, but Neiman taking a nice wide line in, which will give him a tighter exit and hopefully a better straight line in the next couple of corners. And Euler certainly not doing those skidding effects that we saw in the previous round.
No, Neiman seems pretty tame through the first couple of corners there, but see, I'm just looking at the way he's attacking the corners. He's not trying to get the back end out or anything like that. He's just trying to control the car, and at the moment it's looking okay for him.
It's looking okay for him. He's working out quite nicely. Euler takes a slightly obscure line into turns 1. It's so good for me to sit there and criticise everyone when I'm not out there on track at the minute. But it's going quite well for both of them, and you can see there's more control between the pair of them, and it's tippy-toeing as opposed to flooring it and just clinging on for life. We'll soon see in the lap times how it works out, but it's currently Euler ahead of Neiman, and these two have history that go back a long way.
Yeah, both good drivers in their own rights. Obviously, Lucas Euler, the Super League champion, of course, double champion. In fact, and Harry Neiman, he's run a few races down in Formula Challenge and has looked pretty good throughout. And it's just who's going to win this heat.
Be interesting. Euler, of course, double champion is very much like a king-sized Mars bar, where you get 2 bits in the price of 1. If only it was the price of 1, then I'd be buying it more. Neiman keeping hold nicely as they go round, but kind of stopping and starting. He didn't take his optimal line for the first 2 corners of the inside of the track, and I think that may wrong foot him in the second half of this lap. Euler not even touching beyond or inside the white lines, which was what we saw with the 4 drivers beforehand, and he's got the advantage coming round over the line, and I think he's going to do this one by quite a way. Indeed he does. A 1:53.500 against a 1:54.373. Were they in the same cars as what we just had? Because if so, that's a good 6 or 7 seconds slower than what everyone else was doing.
I was literally just looking at that going,
Yeah, what?
Really? I will say this, is that looking at their driving, they weren't pushing as much as you saw Rachel last time out, and Tapper it didn't look like they were getting the back end out as much and abusing the car itself as much. So that's why.
I suppose actually now I expect to see Facebook statuses and Brandon Warren saying just beat Lucas Euler by about 7 or 8 seconds a lap. Might as well. Crazy stuff.
As well, indeed. Christoph Lichtenstein and Jason Muscat this time in the same car. Who's going to be taking this one?
Interesting duo. Muscat in the black, Lichtenstein in the white. He's not been able to. Sorry? Lichtenstein off to a slightly better start than Muscat. Lichtenstein's not been able to show his true potential in the Super League this year, and Muscat has certainly prevailed over him in the Super League, but in the Super Buggies, it'll be interesting to see how they sort themselves out. And Lichtenstein looking like he's slow but steady. Muscat looking like he's chucking that car around quite a lot more.
Yeah, Muscat clips the ball on the outside at the end of his first lap, and there's a bit of space between them. I do personally think that Muscat is going to be the one taking this. Not that that's anything against Christoph, he's a good driver and everything, but I've raced against Muscat a little bit, and he's very, very quick.
What would you say distinguishes him as a specific driver as being quick over the likes of, say, me?
Doesn't mind being aggressive with the car and actually, abusing the limits of the car, and that's where you'll see the people going fast in these cars specifically, is when they're abusing the limit of the car, especially on a track like this where it's narrow and it's tough. And at the moment, Jason Muscat does have a quite comfortable lead over Christoph Lichtenstein.
1.2 seconds at the end of the first tour round. You can see he's actually sliding the car out. Oh, he slid it a bit too much there. He's on the gravel, and that's not going to help at all. And that potentially is 1.2 seconds given back. I was going to say one of Liechtenstein's strengths is that when he's not being taken off by teammates and everyone else, he's always normally bringing the car home and can be relied on for a decent result. And sometimes that can get you quite far in the Race of Champions, and that may well have just twisted things around to his own fate. Coming over the bridge now for Mr. Muscat. Let's see if he's still out in front. Liechtenstein's right there.
Oh,
it is. Can Liechtenstein go for it? It's going to be side by side as they cross the line. It looks like Muscat's got it. He has by a third of a second.
That was much closer than I thought it would be.
And both of them 5 seconds faster than the Super League winners. Christoph, chalk that one up.
Well, I'll tell you what, Liechtenstein, you can never underestimate him. Remember, he was part of the team with Jim Paresis that won the 2012 Race of Champions, and I think, watch out for Lucas. I think if he's given a reason to push, he will, but you could see there, Liechtenstein and Muscat right on the edge, and thus producing faster times overall.
Speaking of Lucas, he's out on track now with Jason Muscat, so this is going to be a good one.
Someone get me a firecracker. It's going to be bursting till midnight. Calvin Hermsey's just tweeted us to say Dowie Tapper and James Johnson for the overall victory. See how that one prevails. Lucas Oiler's in the white, Muscat's in the black. It doesn't matter which one you are, as long as you're not too grey. Off and away, Euler gets a much better start initially off the line from Muscat themselves, but Muscat nice and smooth round to turn 1, and Euler's four-wheel drifting. Going to see he's already showing much more commitment to the car than what he did first time round.
Yeah, it seemed like the first time they were just sort of getting to know the car, and now Lucas is really, really going to try and push, especially because he knows he's just seen what Jason can do in this car, and he knows that he's got to pull his finger out in this car and absolutely push for it. Definitely,
as the old helmets of Darth Vader continue round, and Muscat clamping the outside wall slightly may well hinder his progress. Euler keeps going in quite tight onto the inside for some of these corners, and it's leaving him a little bit stoppy-starty, whereas other guys are kind of taking a wider entry in and flinging the car around like a bottle top.
Well, look at this.
Yeah, Muscat well clear.
Well clear. Like, we are 1.4 seconds clear for Muscat over the Super League double champion.
He's got to watch out though, because he keeps dipping his wheel into the old gravelaroo, and the last thing he wants to do is spin round and then look like an utter Muscat by the time he's finished the lap himself, because he could be on for a right good old upset here, will Mr. Muscat.
Looking like a right old Muscat. See, Euler looks like he's now just trying to push it too hard, but he could bring this back. It's just that initial time from Muscat was pretty damn impressive.
Was indeed, as he goes nice and beautifully around the next couple of corners. Euler needs to crank it up the notch. He was half a second behind as they came round for the last little tour de port, but potentially the outside one is slightly quicker. But Muscat's dipped a wheel onto the gravel again, and I think that may well have ruined... No, it's not. Well clear. 1.6 clear for Muscat.
Wow.
Lives to fight another day. Euler debunked.
I tell you what, coming from the man that this year equalled Joe Consiglio's record of pole positions in Super League after only being in Super League for 2 years, that is a huge upset, and it seems like his team's relying more on Liechtenstein than the double world champion. That's incredible.
I tell you what, there's so much of an upset, I want to go to my room and be alone.
Indeed, now it's Christoph and Harry Nieminen, and well, this will sort it out pretty easily, I'm sure. So who's going to win this one?
Well, has licked up the competition. What can Christoph do this time round? Seconds left to go. I just enjoying what looked like a PS Vita hanging up on the wall behind these two on the cameras.
Wow.
Are they playing Tearaway? Nieminen in the black, Christoph Liechtenstein in the white. Equal starts as they buy away round to turn 1. This is going to be the old decider-oo. Interesting stuff. Nieminen really four-wheel drifting round. Needs to make sure that he can pick up the pace this time round, because, quite frankly, Christoph and Jason have outclassed Ari and Lucas so far. See how they're going this time around. It looks like Niemenen's got it so far.
Well, they look pretty close. The thing is that Christoph abused the curve a bit too much into T1 for him and pulled the car about. But really, Christoph is actually looking good for this one at the moment.
He is, because Ari's just gone and put two wheels on the old gravel and kind of done a little bit of a shopping trolley shimmy, which is never a good thing to do in a super buggy because it takes you a little while to get your momentum going. And
First
once
lap
again,
complete. Here we go.
how are we going to do?
Look at that for Christoph Lichtenstein. Wow.
Whoa.
Beautiful. Everyone take a breath. 1.8 seconds.
1.8. Jesus.
Christoph slightly abusing the white line there into turn one, but we'll give him that because he actually stayed straight as opposed to actually going off a little bit, which is what Niemann done. And, well, who said that upsets don't happen? Can you be a track specialist around something like this?
Yes, yeah, seriously. A track like this where it's complicated, there's quite a lot of apexes that you need to hit and a lot of car balance and specific line you need to follow. You can be a track expert around here. And Christoph Lichtenstein, who was part of the team that, as James pointed out, did win this last year, is actually looking extremely good for this.
It does beg the question how adaptable a driver can be from mod versus mod. And really, if your fortunes can flip and change so dramatically on a limb. But Lichtenstein doing a beautiful job there. 1:49.890, 2.2 seconds clear of Niemann. That's the biggest gap we've had so far. And Christoph, I think you can take a bow and do a little bit of a donut because that was amazing.
Yeah, I don't think that just shows that you can't really underestimate Christoph Lichtenstein now. So that's going to be pretty impressive. Also, apparently we're going to have Lucas and Christoph race for a tiebreaker. So let's have a look what's going to happen here.
So because obviously they're racing in teams. Sorry, we didn't actually divulge this beforehand. We were far too busy getting excited over the fact that there was a car on the track. That actually, Ari Niemann has just nominated Jason Muscat for their little drive. See who.
Surely it's got to be Christoph.
Going to do it? Yeah, you'd think Christoph, wouldn't you? They've been the faster too.
But if that's the case, then Christoph lost his match against Muscat, so he's got to really pull something out of his pocket to be able to win this one. He looks so impressive in comparison to Lucas, but it's about beating that Maltese driver, which will get him and his team through. If it is him,
a while to decide.
Maybe Lucas felt he can push again, go up another gear.
Okay, so they've gone for Chris in all of that. Bum, bum, bum.
I don't blame that choice at all. Is that Christoph has. I would not have said this beforehand. Yes, Mr. Alfred. Christoph has looked like the stronger of the two drivers, and I wouldn't have said that about Christoph Lichtenstein and the double Super League champion. But that is what we're looking at the moment. So Christoph Lichtenstein and Jason Muscat going against each other for the tiebreaker.
Licky Lick is in the white. Little Pussycat is in the black. So black clap. Oh dear, don't catch that.
Wow.
that's a clinic waiting to happen. But is it going to be Black Cat makes the luck? God, no wonder I couldn't say that. I've not even had a drink. Lichtenstein in the white, Muscat in the black. Who's going to be winner? Tiebreaker time. Lichtenstein gets away nicely. Muscat beautifully into turn one, following it all the way round on that banked curve. Lichtenstein has got this kind of slightly sliding but turning, drifting style down to a T. Someone should buy him Grid 2. I think he'll do quite well in that game if that continues on round. And it's looking quite necky and necky as they go round the first of this parts.
Yeah, Christoph Lichtenstein, once I said, he's looking okay. But these two, I mean, when you consider the outer lap is actually the quicker lap, so that's why you see the people on the outer lap ahead at the end of the first half lap, basically. This is looking pretty close at the moment.
Lichtenstein's put two wheels in though, and has done like a kind of mini half spinny round. He may have recovered from it, but he's just clouted the barrier as they come up over the hill.
Lost a bit of time from it.
Yeah, maybe a bit of an issue, and Muscat, he's crossed the line at the end of lap one. What's the difference between them? 1.9.
Oh, see, Christoph is just... Christoph's out. That's
There's
the
a
wall
barrier.
I was told that there is a wall on this track that you shouldn't go near, and that is clearly the wall.
Right turn, Clyde. So Muscat, so long as he gets round, will be able to get his team through, and that will push both himself and Aaron Eamonham through. And he's got the last little bit to do. Don't clout that wall. So
I think for the in the real world, for the race of champions, I think it was 2012. They put a chicane, a movable chicane, on the top of the bridge. That was interesting.
really,
Yeah, they called it the new Schumacher S. Because apparently Schumacher himself went up to the bridge and asked specifically to move the cones to a different location, and they did it.
Muscat wins.
crazy stuff. Muscat then takes it through. Nice little spinny roo. Jason Muscat, Aaron Eamonham goes, loving that car spin. How Stefan Sarazan did you want to be?
That was good from Jason. It's a shame about Christoph going into the wall. And now this is going to be an interesting one. We've got Pepe Giuseppe Ranieri, obviously the Super Cup champion, and Mike Bell going up against Scott Sovic and Tom Parker. So that's going to be an interesting one to see. They're in the Kate rooms. I know this because Mike was complaining. And I think Mike might be in for a little bit of struggling, because the way this works is there isn't really that much setup that you can change, or pretty much anything. And in the Kate rooms, one of those things you can't change is steering lock. He likes his high steering lock.
And what's the general difference between the Caterham and the Super Buggy that we've just had?
The Caterham apparently in higher speeds is a bit more oversteery, but low speed there should be a bit more grip. It should be a bit faster to accelerate, but nevertheless, with the two lining up, it's Scott and Pepe going up against each other.
Vic in the black, Giuseppe Ranieri in the old whitey, moving their wheels already. I hope that the drivers inside are not destructible. I do worry. It gets put down as part of the front wing or something and the head goes flying. Who's going to be top Caterham? It's not Guido van der Garde, it will be Scott Sovic after that start. Beautifully away, Ranieri much slower on the old get-go. But we'll be able to see exactly how they do it. And you can see not quite the four-wheel drifting round that we saw the Super Buggies doing, but there's still quite a lot of hustling going on from the Scott Sovic, who is the most Scottish Nordic person I've ever met in my life.
I remember being told that we were going to interview Scott for a broadcast a while ago, and he entered the chat and started talking. I was like, what? But at the moment, one thing that I would say about Scott is that although he does do quite a few retirements, is that the guy is quick. But against Pepe, who knows? And it looks at the moment that Scott might have the advantage. But here comes Pepe around the final corner for the first full lap, basically.
Just ever so slightly ahead, but he's certainly Scott Sovic, baptism of fire last time round. 7 tenths behind, so still all to play for, and Giuseppe is not running away with this one just yet. And he's on the infield section at the moment, on the inside lane. And what he's doing, I suppose it's Caterham related maybe, but he's being able to take like the double rights and double lefts all as one continuous curve, and that's really helping him out, because then you're not having to kind of arm wrestle it round.
Yeah, at the moment they cross the line to start the final lap. Scott, he's a quick driver, but yeah, as I said, against Pepe, we really wouldn't want to put on money on anyone else other than Pepe, really.
No, and Pepe is going to be doing very well. Good job we haven't got RFE in, because otherwise it could be in the rainy area as well.
Oh, not you and the rainy airy stuff.
God, I've used that pun already, Simon.
Recycled nicely. A 1:59.67 for Giuseppe Ranieri. 2.1 seconds clear from Scott Sovic. Well battled there from Scotty. But sadly, that Terrier needs to be put down if it's going to come through in second.
Yeah, it was a nice little showdown between the two of them.
I'll tell you what, this next showdown is going to be
Tom, as in Parker, has looked pretty good in these, but it's Parker against Bell, so that'll be a fun one.
This could either be absolutely amazing or absolutely hideous, and I don't think there'll be much in the middle.
Oh, come on, Mike.
It could be amazingly hideous, you never know.
Well,
Someone
with Mike's
will be
driving.
upside down. Oh. Parker's in the black. Won't like that. Mike,
here we go.
Bell in the white. Hope he's still got a bell at the end.
Wow.
Troll. What is the PS Vita playing in the background? Off and away we go! Now, even Stevens on the old getaway, but Bell gets it into the second part of that turn. It always slightly surprises me when that happens because they're turning and the other person's going straight. But Bell, nice and neat around the opening couple of corners, taking nice optimal racing lines.
Yeah, obviously, good for Mike. But I have to say, Parker in the practice session that we had briefly did look pretty good in these cars, and look at that lead that he's got at the moment over Mike. Wow, I mean that is after a half lap on the shorter bit of the track, but that is hugely impressive for Parker. He's looked pretty quick in these cars, so this is kind of to be expected.
One of the things that he's doing actually is he's using all of the racing track and not kind of limiting yourself to, this is the railroad, I must stick to the rails, choo-choo Thomas. And it's looking quite nice as they come across the line, 1 second clear. Bell took a little bit out of him in that final sector of the first lap.
He spun. Bell spun.
Oh, I told you. And now he's stuck on the banked curving. Come on, 3-point turn it, Bell. It was you, Mr. Plug-in.
Mike, you let me down.
Undue pressure.
There you go, Parker coming around the final bit to cross the line for his final quarter.
Indeed, it's
they're on the same bit of track now.
Are they?
Yeah, they're really.
Could this all go horribly wrong?
If Mike decides to park it somewhere, then I wouldn't recommend that.
Oh, good. 17.9 seconds behind, quite the biggest gap so far of those that got us home, but at least he got it home this time round as Parker crosses the line of 1:58.34, so not massively different to the first one that we got, in fact just a tenth or two faster, so I think that bodes well for their next matchup. And Mike Bell will chalk that one up to experience, I guess.
Yeah, well, you've got Parker and Pepe, that'll be that looks like it's going to be a good one, and hopefully Mike doesn't spin it next time, but poor Mike.
Yeah, not fab. The next up is Giuseppe versus Thomas Bellina, and I think this one could be the little clash of the Titans.
Little clash of the Titans, not big clash of the Titans. Is that? Are we saving big clash of the Titans for something else?
Final.
Okay, right. Should I bring
We've got
some
3
music?
days of content to get through here. I can't just shoot my load all over the first.
Oh well, would be surprised.
Got to get through the hot dogs first.
Someone say hot dogs?
Ranieri
in the whites, Parker in the black. Obviously doesn't like a roulette wheel. See who gets round it on this one. Thunder gods beware. Ding ding! Ranieri off to a much better reaction time than Parker and stays ahead round the first turn whilst Parker gets himself into the old groove. On a song. I'm afraid Mr. Redshaw, who's now doing cameras, won't like that. I feel like I've been unfaithful.
Well, Smithy the unfaithful, that's fair enough. As we come up to finish the first quarter, and Giuseppe looks like he's got a nice solid lead at the moment, which is going to be 1.7 seconds as they finish the first quarter, so it's looking okay for Pepe at the moment, but don't forget, Parker is quick.
Indeed, Ranieri's kind of perfected those double apexes in the infield section. The outfield section, they're very much even Stevens, but Ranieri beautifully through the middle section as they come round to start lap 2. What's the difference between the two? Ranieri's lost out a little bit of time around the outside section. 7/10 of a second is the gap as opposed to the one earlier on. So Parker, is he cranking up the screw?
One would assume. Obviously, with the different sections of track, the only real way that you can tell what kind of times they're on is when they've done 2 laps or 1 whole lap, however you want to count it. That's the odd thing with this track, with it being one continuous bit of tarmac round. It's quite hard to judge.
I suppose that makes it very difficult as well to play tactical, because then you don't know to absolutely floor it if you're just a couple of attempts ahead, or if you're 2 seconds ahead, you kind of go,
Well, there's only one thing that you can do then. Absolutely floor it. Just do it.
Browse.
Always push.
Ranieri well out front then. Parker's kept him honest round his second part. Ooh, that's a little bit of a naughty cut there by Parker. It didn't work out for him. A 149.886, the first Caterham into the 150 subs, and he beats Monsieur Parkeridge down to second.
Now, Mike and Scott is who we're going to have next for the basically who's going to be passing on through this, and if not, we'll be having a nice tiebreaker. To be honest, moving on between these two, if we yeah, we go blah 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 blah. If we go between, if it comes to a tiebreaker and it's Pepe, Mike and Giuseppe are looking good to move on, but I think Mike and Scott they need to. Out of the two of them, I'm going to say Scott's probably the fastest driver. I'm just going to say it now.
In the 10 seconds, have you ever broken any tyres, James?
Broken tyres many times. In fact, on one GRC evening in pre-season, I broke one tyre, the same tyre, 3 races in a row.
Amazing. Bell on the whites, Sovic on the black. I was talking about tyres, but we'll go for the tyres fine. Sovic's away beautifully though, off the line. Monsieur Bell is a little bit saved, not by the bell, not by the green lights, but actually the lights had gone out and then he blinked. Sovic, a little bit of a mini advantage, but he's sliding the back end out like some kind of twerking session going on with that Caterham, and may need to calm it back in again and get his Nordic cool back to ensure that he keeps the initial lead that he has over Mike Bell.
Yeah, these two though looking fairly close as they cross the line for the first quarter. It's 1.4 in the advantage of Bell. Obviously, it's the quarter, so we have no bloody idea really. We just like to say it because it sounds good. But that's always the way the broadcast works. But these two, I do predict a little bit close. Mike just needs to not make the same mistake he did last time. He can't spin this one.
No, exactly. Otherwise, I think he may not have friends there for the future. Sovic narrowly ahead of Bell. Bell has a little bit more momentum, maybe coming across the line. Just 3/10 of a second covering the two. Sovic versus Bell. This one's really going to go down to the wire, I think, because Bell has closed back in on Sovic after Sovic got the initial lead on the getaway.
Yeah, 3/10 in the advantage of Mikey Bell. And it's interesting. Like when you look at the line of Mike and his basically his teammate for this Pepe, is that their line is really it's just the slight things that are different, which is where Mike's losing his time.
Yeah, and they always say being a little bit different can sometimes get you institutionalized. As Sovic gets it wrong. Sovic gets it very, very wrong in one corner, runs out to the barrier but was going head onto it, so he's had to come to almost a complete halt before going on, and that has handed this one to Mike Bell, who comes round, and that is, as Mr. Kirk would call it, a redemption drive, a 151.578, well clear of Sovic, who's limping around on the line some seconds slower. And I think there will not be a Nordic cool after that one as Giuseppe and Mike progress to the semis.
Lol, semis.
At least my prediction isn't out yet.
Who have you got as a semi?
Well, I was predicting Giuseppe and Mike for the win for the entire thing.
Ah, okay.
And so if they went out at this stage, it would be very embarrassing for me.
Well, the thing is now is that they're moving on, and we'll see those two back tomorrow. Because obviously the way this is working, because we haven't really explained this, is
in fact we haven't said who the first lineup for the semis is yet.
Who is the first lineup for the semis?
It's Tapper Johnson versus Muscat Nieminen.
Yeah, so there we go. But basically we've got the heats tonight, and then tomorrow we'll have the finals of the groups of the teams like we have now. Which will be the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the final. And then tomorrow, the day after, on the Thursday, we will be having a wonderful individual event. But that was interesting. It's nice to see that Mike actually won something.
This one's now got Oskari Kantonen and Mark Wicks versus Harley Hamnet and Thomas Jacobs. No one's actually told him who's next. Oh, it's Kantonen versus Hammy the Hammy. And all of this talk of semis has just got me thinking of sword fights.
For goodness sake. Let's not go
Restrain
there.
yourself, Lewis. It's all part of the act.
It's okay. It's okay. Oh, Harley's in the pit lane. This will need to be restarted because Harley's in the pit lane.
And you start from pit lane? Is that an option in the Race of Champions?
Yeah, so I know we've restarted. He just kind of like started at the pit lane and was like, "Huh? Hang on, this is where I want to be."
Australian.
Also, Holly did. It's all a bit confusing at the moment.
Wrong side of the road!
When were you confused last then, Mr. McGlade? Talk to us about your confusion.
My last bit of confusion. Right now, when Harley was just driving down the pit lane. I don't know, when I got pole, as in not outright pole, as in reverse grid pole in the FC last time. That was probably pretty confusing.
You had a little bit of a knack of that, if I remember
Yeah,
rightly.
I had two that Harley's in the pit lane again.
Aww, clearly he wants to be with his fans. So just reloading a track. And yeah.
Awesome.
So, highlights so far, James?
Well, Lucas getting beaten twice. Actually not twice. Sorry, he did beat Niemanen, but the fact that he was so much slower than Christoph Liechtenstein is quite shocking, actually, and it shows how, yes, some people can click with a mod such as Liechtenstein, but how some people can get a mod so very, very, very wrong in the case of Euler, and I'm surprised to see them out this early, to be honest. I was banking on them at least getting through to the quarters.
What about you, Monsieur Plugin?
Monsieur Plugin, excellent. Cheers.
I could like your hair. As you know, I wouldn't like
Don't. Oh, good news. Oh, is he going to be on track? Is Harley going to? Harley's on track.
Hey!
What about Cantonen?
Yay! But no, I'd say highlight of the evening is really I'd agree with James. Is where Euler was. Where was his pace?
He's done a bit too much of the old DW40 or WD40 for that matter as well. Hamnet's in the black. Obviously, someone's overcooked that ham. Cantonen is in the white. Can he get the victory? Hamnet with that extreme lagalicious ping could well prove a feat yet, and Cantonen's well away. Hamnet's kind of a wee bit behind on the getaway, and I think he was probably a little bit of a second behind everyone else because he's running on Australian time as he clouts the barrier on the outside. This has not been the cleanest of starts for Monsieur Harley.
No, it's a bit too slidey there, but he's although it looks really, really aggressive. It doesn't look particularly slow, but Oscari gets a little bit out of shape coming down towards the final couple of corners. We all know that Oscari is pretty damn quick though, and in a weighty car, yeah, maybe that was a big hit for Harley.
That was indeed. I tell you what, that was like being slammed a kangaroo punch right in the kisser. Been able to recover from it, but that car looks like it's a little bit crossed wired because it's not quite getting around the corners exactly how he'd like, and Cantonen is running away and romping with it as they cross to start lap 1. What is the gap? It's looking around the 4 to 5 second mark. Yeah, Hamnet is struggling. That car is crossed up 6 seconds off the pace. He's not able to
It's understeering heavily as that car.
Yeah, too much of a clout. What a shame. What a shame.
Yep. Oh, that's not looking fun to drive.
That
But
shopping
Ascari,
trolley that only a little trolley could love.
wow. The only way really Oscari can lose is if he goes wide at this turn right here, and we know about that evil wall. But there you go, past it, easy peasy.
That's the safest way to go for the inside and just go no, no, no.
Indeed. Yes. Exactly. Yes, Simon. Yes. Okay.
Thank you. It's science, but it's chaos. But it's science, but it's chaos as they come across the line. And it's Oscari Cantonen who certainly can for the Caterham. Oh God, how many K's can I get in that? Harley.
He's only
I'll tell you
got
what-
2 K's in his name. What are you going on about?
No.
This is like Van again.
That name is amazables. But Hamnet has made it home. And that is a 2 minutes 9.091. And I think I will jot that one down for myself to beat later on.
One could say he's been cooked into Harley Baconet.
Aww.
Wow. Do you don't Okay, there's
This is why I don't come up with.
He's
comedy
made
on
a
regular
pig's ear of
basis.
that.
there's a really big thing. Oh, it's Wix and Tom, so it's one half of Playbench.
James, hang it up.
Oh my.
Playbench?
Playbench, yeah.
Yes, you said it on the
This was your
ITC.
own joke.
Aww.
You are silly.
Love seat. So, Mark Wicks, who is everyone's favourite friend who assumes that they're his friend, even though they've never spoken to him. Hi, Mark. And then Tom Jacobs on the outside. It just, when someone says, oh, they're a nice guy. Jacobs is in the blacks, Wicks is in the whites, although he should really be a little bit brown if he's earwax, I'm thinking. That's not right at all. Off in the way they go. Even Stevens, round turn 1.
Some of the stuff you say, mate. Some of the stuff you say. Anyway, it's been a pretty good launch there for Tom. Obviously, it's kind of they were pretty even, Stephen, as you said.
Lovely missions. You have to Mars. It's a NASA car.
You are just too much to handle.
Hugh McGlade.
Aww.
Oh, cuddles and everything. Who's coming across the line? It is Mr. Jacobs. He's 1.8 clear. Clearly.
2.4.
Wow. My goodness me. Well, that was bigger than what we said that it was 1.4 and we didn't know what was going on. So, science is chaos.
I would say Tom's leading this one at the moment. Don't forget, Tom has won 2 races when the leaders have taken each other out.
Has he?
But yeah, he won in Formula Challenge and ITC. Come on, you were there when you were commentating on one of the races, Simon. I
don't commentate on FC.
ITC.
We were commentating on that.
Oh, ITC. Oh, those
yes.
tin toppy things. Yes.
Yes, those tin toppy things. When Canopino and was it Bart de Vos?
Yes.
And they came together.
Was it Bracalo?
And
was it Bracalo? It was Bracalo. Of course, it was Bracalo. It's just
one of those. One of those.
Yeah.
Cross the line, and actually, to be fair, it is looking like a 2-second advantage to Tom.
Indeed.
Mark Wicks has always been one of those people who, providing he is not cursed with trouble, is always able to bring the car home. I know that sounds like an oxymoron. It's never normally his fault, which is what I'm trying to point out. So as long as Jacobs can keep it on the black stuff and not falter around these last couple of corners, he's got this one in the bagaroo.
Yeah, it's a good couple of laps for Tom. And let's just see where Wicks is really close.
That was much closer than I thought it was going to be.
Wow! We were caught sleeping there or something, but 4/10 between the two of them.
Mark Wicks with a stellar second lap. If you look, it's just restarted. Nudges, but Mark Wicks' second lap was mightily faster than his first, whereas Jacobs kind of done a vice versa.
Well, this will be an interesting one. Thomas Jacobs and Ascari Canton. Obviously, these two have raced together a little bit in the old Formula Challenge. So
have a bit of history, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. See how well this one goes.
A little bit of history repeating.
Excellent.
Who is the faster one then, though, Lewis?
By a long way, Cantonen, because Cantonen is a very, very quick driver. However, these cars are carrying a bit more weight, so we never really know.
True, they have been down the all-you-can-eat buffet. Cantonen in the white, Jacobs in the black. Who's going to be on the top step and getting their way through? Equally away, if anything, Jacobs a little bit better than Cantonen round into turn 1. Cantonen taking a very middling line round that long sweeping back corner. Obviously, he ain't afraid of no wall as they go round. And Jacobs, nice, neat and tidy. This one could be one that goes to the end.
Yeah, I mean, you said about the walls. You've got to not be afraid of the walls, but you can't get too close to them. There's like it's the healthy respect as to between the two of them. There's 1.3 between them as they've done the first call, which, as we said, doesn't really mean anything. But
we like to quote.
We like to quote, yes. And it makes us go, oh, someone's leading, when they're really not. They're really not. However, about to complete the first entire lap, who is going to have the main advantage? I'm going to say Ascari. Oh, no, he's made a bad mistake.
Jacobs has got it. Nicely done as they cross the line. The gap is
6/10. 6/10 for me.
Babaroo. So good stuff there from Jacobs, managing to keep a nice tighter line in. And he's saying about healthy respect. It may sound a little bit like a relate counsellor, but actually that kind of thing applies to everything that you do in life as Jacobs pushes out the rear as he goes over the hill.
Yeah, this is let's have a look and see who's got the main advantage. I'm not really sure who's going to be. It was 1.3 last time, and it's 1.2 now. So Tom is looking good for this one. Is looking pretty damn good indeed.
Someone get him a mirror so that he can sheen if he's able to come across the line as the winner of this heat. Anthony, I don't think will be done yet. He's clinging on in there, but both lines are looking very, very sweet and tidy. Jacobs pulls out. He's got the slightly tighter line, but that's the less distance, and across he comes. 153.94 takes it by nigh on identically, third of a second. Antonin 0.335 behind. I think Jacobs will chalk that one up very nicely.
Good effort from Tom, isn't it? I think, though, all relies on Hamnet not messing this one up, though, in order for them to definitely go through.
Agreed. Just simply agreed.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that Hamnet has the pace to beat Wicks. And we say Wicks, he's a. We should never say he's a shadow of his former self, but we've got to remember he has been second. He has been second in the Super League before, and he has lost a bit of that speed. But don't count him out just yet, I'd say.
Indeed.
In the white, Hamnet again. In the back to black, someone smoked that ham. We'll be back for breakfast. Was it Kipper? Yeah, it was a Kipper.
Oh my god.
Red Bull.
Just come on. Jesus.
Red Wolf. Oh, yeah, it's
Great show.
Smoke various things on a grill. I have. Wicks away nicely from Hamnet. Hamnet gets a better second phase of the start and then kind of backs out of it again for turn one, and is looking a little bit edgy. And he's already got two wheels on the grass and has gone in very deep, and he's got that little magnetic attraction to those lovely barriers, and that's because he's hooking his wheels into the inside of the white lines, and he's already clipped the bridge barrier. Should be okay from that one, but it's going to be win it or bin it, I think.
Yeah, we got 1.7 between the two of them on the first quarter, and I'd like to quote that. Harley, though, I mean, on my screen he's lagging a little bit, so it's kind of hard to see really where he is, but they go a bit too deep. It looks like he's kind of trying to take it a bit too aggressively, but on the wrong line as well, if that makes sense. Like, he's trying to carry too much speed. However, to complete the first full lap, it looks like Wicks is going to have the advantage, but Harley's carried a bit too much speed there.
He is
0.3 between them.
Beautifully done there from Mark. He's the smart squirrel trying to get in on there, and Hamlet into the barrier again. It's like he only knows floor it, because it's like well, weird.
When you can't change setup and things like that, there's some things in the car, like clearly the weight is a bit rearward in this car, and that for me is just like a massive, I don't like. So you know, there's
big rear.
I don't like a big heavy rear. I must say, I like mine a bit more small and petite and a bit more front loaded. Well, looks like Harley might like the same.
Exactly. Well, Harley, I'm afraid you've got one fat ass. So, unfortunately, you may be slightly under attack from Wicks, but it's side by side round the last corner. Who's going to do it? Hamnet keeps out of the wall and gets it by 0.4 of a second from Mark Wicks.
Wow.
Nice, cleaner second lap from recovery, and that changed the tables.
That was
Harley and Tom progress.
That was pretty close between the two of them. I mean, Tom did a good job on basically taking the 2 wins and helping that team through, but you know, that was an interesting little heat there.
And that then confirms our second lineup of Rainieri Bell versus Jacobs Hamnet.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Gonna be an interesting one, that actually, to be honest.
A bell of ham.
Bell of ham, indeed.
Ding dong.
All selections of the career ladder represented in that lineup as well.
Good spot, actually.
Indeed there is. I know that Mike and Tom have quite a bit of history. So that'll be a good one to see tomorrow. Before we obviously move on to the semi-finals and the actual finals. However, who is up next?
It should be Alex Cooper and Simon Melhuish v Florian Geyer and Kenny Liebert.
Melhuish appears to not be racing.
Yes,
Bart DeVos popping
Bart DeVos is who we've been told is filling that seat. So
very well.
Yes.
Obviously, Mr. Mellowish is busy on Warframe or something. He's shooting things again.
Is it Warframe or War Thunder?
War Thunder. I don't
They're-
know.
Or Mech
they're-
Warrior. He's quite fond of
They're
Mech Warrior
both.
as well.
They're both different games, but all's the same thing, all right?
Stefanato. Just seeing who disconnected there, or was it our?
It was just Lewis.
It was just our cameraman. So apologies if the cameras have gone a wee bit confused. We will be with you as soon as we can. Let's see who's going out on the old track in the looper.
Florian and Alex
Should be good.
in some front-wheel drive limos. Excellent.
Limos there. They look like cars that really should have. They look like Herbie Talkers.
They look like Chavmobiles to me.
Pulling them up. Guy in the black, Cooper in the white, and they're off and away together. And it looks like Cooper's got the slight edge down into turns 1 and 2 as he goes inside. I do think that white one looks like a medical ambulance car, just because of the green bit in the middle. I can't
Sound
help
effects.
it.
Can we have sound?
Meemaw,
Excellent.
out the way. Coming through.
Oh dear.
Wouldn't it be amazing if all ambulances had like a musical tone, as Gaia is 1.1 ahead of Cooper?
What
Clearly,
if it was just Mr. T saying "out of the way, fool"?
No, I think all ambulances should have the Ghostbusters theme blaring out.
Oh, that would be pretty amazing. However, heading down towards the completion of the first lap, who's going to have the advantage, Florian or Alex? It looks like Alex at the moment. Oh, Florian's got a bit too deep.
Ooh, yeah, Gaia had 2 little love nudges with the barrier. That was the second one. The first one was actually coming onto the bridge itself, and he looked like he was side by side with Alex until that point. So, Mr. Cooper, who has been under the radar for a lot of Super League, notching up points, and it's still unsure as to where he will be for 2014, one of the many mysteries of the magical mystery tour that is GPVWC. And he's putting himself up with a good show, but Gaia doesn't look like he's quite done yet.
Yeah, this is obviously the completion of the second quarter, whatever. However this one works, we're at halfway through the second lap, the third quarter. Shut up.
Oh! I'll turn you off, plug-in. Who said you last 90 days? I piss all over your stinky stench.
Thanks.
Cooper, however, is right out front and looking rather superior. And he's going to take the win. He even had time to do a little showboating on his 2.5 second win on a 1:52.305. Are the loopholes slower than the rest?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Did my voice have gone any higher during that question? Sorry, everyone.
Well, actually, tell you what, there's lots of interesting rumours about Cooper. You say he's been under the radar. Did very, very well in the tin tops in World GT. He won World GT with rounds to go. He came second in WSS. And a very interesting rumour that I've heard from a number of sources is that he might, in fact, be moving down to Super Cup to partner the guy he just raced against there. That's what I've heard from a few people. So, going to be interesting to see if that's the case.
I was just about to ask a really bad question as to who did he just race against, because I totally forgot. It's Florian. It's Florian. Yeah, it's alright. I'm with it.
I
must apologise. I've been calling him Gaia in most of the stuff I've been talking about him, so I do apologise, Florian. I've got your name right now.
Amazing. We've got instant friends, Florian. Bart DeVos is in the white. Kenny Drunk the Beer is in the black. Who's going to kill Kenny? Will it be Bart DeVos as they come around off the line? And it looks like Kenny's actually got off to a decent start. Made a couple of late entries onto the Super League at the end of 2013 and got up some pretty respectable point scoring positions. But he's looking a wee bit shy of a couple of the apexes because he's taking a bit too much of a tight line in some of those corners. This could pay dividends though. But Bart is one of those free-flowing drivers who could very well topple them, especially in these types of cars, because this is where I've seen him cut his teeth the most.
Yeah, but Kenny's someone that I've always kind of rated a little bit highly. You know, I've looked at him in the Super Cup, and he's looked like a good driver. Wow, really?
He's on the wrong side of the track! He fell over.
Bart.
Oh boy.
Bart. Oh, that's a shame.
When he said he was going to take his car out for a roll, I didn't realise he meant it that literally.
Do the Bart man. Do the Bart man.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's sorted. Oh, there you go. Well done, Kenny.
Next. So Kenny's just got to make sure that he doesn't kill himself then, essentially, because Bart did try to kill Kenny by leaping over the fence onto the other side. And talk us to us about why you rate Kenny before I screamed over the top of you.
When he came into Super Cup, he looked like a good driver. You know, he's raced in a few things and has looked pretty good. Did he take a win in the Masters? I think he did.
Yes, he did. He led a Waters 1-2, didn't he?
Yeah, Sebring. I remember that. So you know, he's a good driver. I wouldn't know now if he's better time wise than Bart. But you know, I do think he's a good driver, and he is. I think was it Oscar's pick was it was Oscar's pick was that Kenny was going to be on the team that was going to go and become the Race of Champions champion. So rated highly by one Oscar.
1:53.644 is his winning time, but De Vos will complete it one lap down because it's dropped into quarters, goes to halves, which using than it dare ever need be. But that is strike one for Kenny, and Bart De Vos gives us the best replay that we've had so far this evening.
Yeah, I'd say it's a shame that he's rolled it, but Bart has been known to say many a time that he prefers tin tops to single seaters. He probably won't prefer this tin top in particular, but don't write him off for the next round when he faces Gaia, would it be?
Yeah.
Because he does have speed in tin tops, and given that he can keep all four wheels on the ground, I think he'll provide pretty good competition to Florian.
Yeah, well, now we've got Kenny and Alex going up against each other. This one could be pretty good.
This is going to be pretty good, isn't it?
White one, Cooper in the white, might be in the black. It don't matter if you're first or second. Well, it does really. We don't give prizes for second. We don't give prizes for first, actually, to be fair. It's all about the honour and Libeer and the wonderful Bart get off pretty simultaneously around the first couple of corners.
I give a prize for the person who finishes first. I say, well done. Good job.
Wows.
Yeah, I know. Big prize.
If I could bucket up all those well dones that I've had all of my life, I would get myself a sympathy vote.
Would you? Excellent. However, as they cross the line, Alex looks like he's got this one all under control. He's got 1.9 over the first quarter. Yes. It doesn't mean anything. Blah, 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 blah. We don't know what we're doing.
Don't we? Someone's just put us in front of this monitor set. Well, to be fair, that 1.9 is better than the 1.4, which we decided was scientific. And Cooper is still out front from Libeer. Libeer certainly giving chase, though, as they come across the line. Bing, bing, 4 tenths of a second to Cooper's favour as they go into lap 2.
So Smithy, is this what we're agreeing on? Is that it's about 1.4 is about where they're even after the first quarter? Is that what we're saying? Right, okay, that's good. Right, we're agreeing anywhere between 1.3 and 1.4 is about even. Right.
Science is chaos, mooses.
Yeah.
Scratches. The Cooper well out in front at the minute as he's pulling it out even longer. Sorry there.
I was just about to say I'm a moose. Excellent.
You can be the moose of the hoose.
Excellent. What's James?
He is the schnauzer of the Bowser.
Right.
Or Cam was Bowser.
Cam is Bowser. You can be a schnauzer.
I'm the Schnauzer, okay.
Schnauzer. You can be the schnitzel schnauzer.
The Schnitzel Schnauzer.
Cooper's still well ahead.
Yeah, well ahead.
I do love a good schnitzel.
1:52.433. Cooper beats Libeer by almost exactly a second. Nicely done by those two. Nice clean rounds. That one falls the way of the Cooper sale.
Do these guys even have cameras watching? I've just asked someone who might be watching, do they have cameras properly? Because obviously we don't have a cameraman in this, because obviously he was too bored of our voices.
Of course, yes.
But, nevertheless, it's now Bart versus Florian.
Oscar Hardwick just sent us another message that says, also keep an eye on Timo and Miku. Miku? Yes, not Miku.
Wow, you mixed those two up. Excellent. But yes,
Miku.
they are ones to watch.
And yeah, because Timu got through to the final. He got knocked out in the final, but he did get through to the final of 2012.
Indeed, Florian versus Bart for this one. My God, what would happen if Timu and Miko had a baby?
Timu Sukas.
God, that would.
So are we saying that Sukas is the strong one in the relationship?
It would just have ADHD, whatever the baby would have.
Excellent.
Psychopathic ADHD. Gaia in the black then, and it is Bart DeVos in the white, and Gaia's got off to the better line, but then did slightly tap that inside barrier and a little premature turnage into turn 1, and has gone in a wee bit deep into 2 to hold it all together for the remainder of this opening lap.
Yep, sorry. I was just doing something quickly.
Really?
I mean, I'm just trying to get feedback from people and stuff. But nevertheless, right, we said 1.3 to 1.4, and we've got 1.5 for Bart DeVos is the advantage. So from our initial assumption, Bart DeVos is leading this.
Gaia smacked,
grazed
the outside wall there. It was like he went up for a little bit of a sniffy of the schnauzer, but sadly came back out of the corner again. And there you can see, we said 1.5, and look, he's still about a tenth or two ahead. So science, we knew what we were talking about all along. Quarter of a second up, Bart DeVos on Florian Gaia, despite Florian's best efforts to bin it. And it's going to be a close one, DeVos versus Gaia.
It's almost as if we're really good at this, Simon. God.
I've lucked myself into every position I've ever found myself in.
Excellent.
Perhaps we should do a new show, Science on GPVWC, with Simon Smith and Lewis McGlade.
Oh my God.
There'll be no GCSEs handed out for that one. DeVos 2 seconds now up on Monsieur Gaia. Is he French? He's done the same thing on the next lap round, but this time did clout the barrier, and I think that may well have ruined it because he's doing like a little bit of a shaky twerk in the braking into the next section, and you can see Bart is clear.
Yeah, Bart has got a little bit of clearance on that. And I'm not sure if Florian's French or anything.
He's German.
He's German. I thought he was German. I did not think he was French.
Wrong to get those two confused, as Bart DeVos wins with a 153.892, 7 tenths clear of Gaia. Bart and Alex go through to round 2. It's a bit like Reader's Digest, only better.
But who was it? Where was it, James, that you said that Dowie came from in that broadcast that one time?
I accidentally said he was Finnish, didn't I?
Yeah, something like that. I think it was Finnish.
And he's actually Dutch.
Yeah.
Is he related to Dowie Egbert?
Very possibly.
Well, I don't know if the relation actually works when it comes from first name. I'm not really sure that's how it works.
Well, no, that's going to be in Hungary, isn't it? Because Hungarians have some of their names mixed up.
Yeah, well, that's because they're Hungarian. Anyway, it's next time. It's Van de Voo and Matt. So I'm going to assume that means Matthew Williams
yes.
And Jordan and Roy. So how big of one?
Yay! All the favourites. So yeah, actually, why would you? I'm wondering what other parts of the world that people share their first names, because it always makes me laugh that if you know in Formula One, Mexicans take on both surnames of both their relatives sometimes.
Well, here's the thing.
Francisco Gutierrez, sorry.
That's
Gutierrez. Yeah.
Esteban
Gutierrez, as I call him, is actually his real name is Esteban Gutierrez.
I knew that. Did you know Fernando Alonso isn't actually Fernando Alonso?
It's Mary.
No, it's Fernando Alonso Diaz.
Yes, it is.
Mary Alonso.
Because there's a Facebook page that's set up like it, and I was like, really, trolls?
Anyway, it's Van de Voo on Weeks, and obviously Weeks is in the black car.
I love that it says Van de Voo. It sounds like some kind of voodoo.
Just realised
black magic for Jordan Weeks.
Van der Voort and Williams, two of the sexiest voices on GPVWC.
I know. Like a constant eargasm. And Van der Voo has got off to a lovely start and now has clonted the wall on the outside there, so commentators curse. And Jordan Weeks said that, why am I in the black car? I must be superstitious. Opposed to anything else, he needs to make sure that he keeps that one under wraps.
Van de Voo looking pretty good for this one.
Is at the moment, as they come around to the first quarter. We like the 1.4. At the moment, it's 7 tenths, and I would say that is definitely Van de Voo. Up to you, mate.
Yeah, if our science is believed to be correct, then obviously Tom. Yes, Tom has got a nice strong lead, even though he is going wide and clouting many a barrier.
Yeah, it's like he has had a little bit of an allergy to the apex on quite a few of these corners, but at the end of lap 1 he's got 9 tenths advantage over Jordan Weeks, who is showing a little bit of a weak link around some of these corners and needs to make sure that he hones it back in again so that he can get it. I love a terrible pun.
Okay, well, I mean, I will say this about Jordan, is that Jordan generally, especially in the ITC, or in the ITCA, as we call it, is that he's generally looked pretty good in the front wheel drive. I mean, he drives the Vectra there, or Astra, or whatever it is. It's not a Vectra.
The car.
It's Astra.
It's an Astra, I thought it was. I don't know, I don't
The
drive
Vauxhall.
it. Yes, and he looked pretty good in it. And here, I would have assumed he would actually look a bit better than he is.
Is it a Vox de Vue?
Vox de Vue. No, it's not.
What about if it was... I wish if Tom was actually called Limousine de Vult. Then it would be called Lindavoo. And it could be a Vindaloo. Amazing. 152.946. Oh, I'm so crap, I amaze myself. Jordan Weeks comes home 2.6 behind in second place. So Tom, you sexy beast, won that one. Sadly, I'm not going to GPVWC Day because of some
Neither am I.
No!
We should hold our own GPVWC Day.
Well, there's going to be an English meet-up, which I shall be trolling along to.
Isn't that the Autosport thing?
I don't know, I'm just going for beer.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay, excellent.
Tell me where it is and I'll turn up looking slightly shaggy. Matthew Williams versus
That's the
Roy
Simon
Schroeter.
look.
Wow.
Yes, it is. It is Matthew Williams on Roy Schroeter, so this will be a good one, hopefully. Yes.
So Roy's in the black. Big black balls versus Matthew Williams, who's clearly milked out his milker cow because it's all in white. Side. That poor milker cow. I've not bought a milker bar since we've not been allowed to use that name.
Matthew Williams, that's Matthew Allington in the milk.
God.
Oh, I don't know. It's all a Matthew. Troughton is out in front at the moment just by view of him still going.
Matthew Williams is the one who critiques my driving.
Oh, that's controversial.
Controversial. Oh well.
Official broadcast.
On what grounds does he manage to do that?
Well, this will be even more controversy to add to it, and as they cross the line, it's
1.5.
1.5 in the advantage of Roy Schroeter. So Roy's looking pretty good for this one.
By the whole 10th, as he goes round by the hair of his Schroetens, and Williams not too bad around some of these corners. He's having to do like a second stab though on sometimes of the turn-ins these corners, and I think that's not helping him on the old times. And this is looking tighter than a fishnet stocking.
Yeah,
they cross 1/10. That's the closest we've had all evening.
Matthew Williams carried too much speed into T1 for him. But the thing is this is what I've said. This is what I've just seen is that it seems like Matthew Williams has looked at what Roy's done and has gone, right, that's it, I'm stepping it up in this second sector. He looks really good in that second half of the lap. So, it's not over until it's over, really.
No, I haven't pulled out a fat woman and made her screech yet as Williams goes round, but it is looking increasingly like Roy is ahead. 1.8 the gap as they crossed over that line. And Williams takes a very, very tight line around that first long banked curve, and that's not one that we've seen many people take, and I wonder if that's where he's losing the time.
Well, as they're about to cross the line, it looks like Roy's just got the advantage, but it's going to be pretty close between the two of them. Only 2-3 tenths between them.
Roy's ran out a little bit stodgily, but Williams taps the barriers, 3 tenths the difference. 152.447 in a lupo for Roy Schroeter ahead of Matthew Williams. I do hope one of them doesn't bin the lupos, because otherwise it will look like they've got lupus. That could be an issue. I probably now need to donate a £5 to charity because of that. I done this last time when I criticised someone that had some kind of disability, and then I had to give money to charity for that afterwards. Did I actually do it? I can't remember. That's what you know who you are, because I did say, can you send me the web address, and then I lost it. And I think I found you on Facebook since. So if I haven't sent you the money, please do let me know, because I'm a man to my word.
Aww.
Backmark of the game team, actually. We, or I, because it's only me in it, as it's Van der Vue versus Schroeter, support a charity called MAP, which deals with medical emergencies in dramas like certain hurricanes in Philippines. Vandervoo is in the white, Schroeten's in the black. Yes, we do pay money towards stuff.
Simon Smith, the Good Samaritan.
Yeah. Well, he let me drive for him, so he's got.
He
to
let
be a pretty
me
good Samaritan.
drive for him.
Exactly.
I do like to take all the cherries, so I need to bring something back. It is Schroeten in the inside loop. Vandervoo is on the outside, and Tom, who is a voice that everyone needs a book of, is taking lines almost as smooth as his accent. Need to, because Roy is kind of hanging it all out to dry here today.
It's 1.6 between the two of them, and remember, both of these one races. Oh, Tom has just done exactly what his compatriot did last time out, and just went too deep at the turn one of the two wheels. Phew, this is a bit of a sloppy second half for Tom van der Voort at the moment.
And if anyone was going to do sloppy seconds and get away with it, it would be Tom. But Schroeten is ahead as they come round to start the second part of the lap. What's the difference between the two? It's 8 tenths of a second.
Wow.
Schroeten's got it because of that two-wheeled lup into the air for Tom, and it's all to play for. Tom now needs to go hell for leather, or he's going to end up second best to Roy, who has been sneaky squirrel in the Super League and has pulled out some fab results. Is he going to cause another upset stomach here today?
Well, Tom needs to really pull his finger out now if he wants to take the win of this heat and move his team forward. And let's have a look what he's going to do. 7 tenths between them, so it's not looking too good. And he's gone deep again for T1.
Same mistake.
Yeah, same mistake. I don't know what it is. I mean, I understand that these cars are a little bit difficult to try, but like that is a clear mistake.
We've seen quite a few drivers do it on that specific corner, right on the inside and the thingy-bob. Is it one of those ones, because it looks like it's a double apex where you turn in slightly and then it gets tighter?
Yeah.
Is it just inviting you in more and more, and then you just think, oh, I can do it, and then you go, no, all at the same time as Tom hits the outside wall again?
Yeah, well, Roy took the win on that heat. But yeah, it is a little bit like that. When you're approaching it, it doesn't look as tight as it's going to be, and then you slam on the brakes, and it's like, oh, there's a really tight corner here, and that's where they're just flying out to that outside wall. And it's not the first driver that we've seen doing it; we've seen most of them do it. However, now we've got Matthew and Jordan going up against each other.
I tell you what, that turn in particular reminds me of Botneering, which is the next track on the ITC calendar. There's a certain turn there which goes right, and then it really turns in really tight. And if is really hard balancing act between carrying too much and too little speed through there. Too much and you go wide, too little and you're just not going to gain time.
Oh, well. Could that be a premonition? We've got Williams again in the white, Jordan Weeks again in the black. What they can do, and it's going to be down to this one. Royce Schroeten saying, actually, just give us the win, I'll give you KFC. So clearly bribes are going on in the chat room, and Weeks gets away slightly better off the line than Matthew Williams. And Williams, who's been, now that I've realised what Matthew he is, has been getting better over the course of 2013, with or without the milk cow. And Weeks just needs to keep it all together for this one.
Yeah, I mean, these two have it in them to be pretty close, but at the moment, Matthew Williams has pulled out a pretty good lap at the moment, and as they cross the line, I think he's going to have the advantage. He does indeed. 1.8 between the two of them. So, but Matthew Williams has done exactly the same thing as what he's done the previous times that he's done it. He's gone deep at turn one on the second quarter. So
it's like they've got a GPS problem where it just wants to send you off on a bad AI line.
It is painful watching the AI go round, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's awful. James told me to do it once. Never again. It is just stressful. Oh, the two are close, though. They're pretty close.
Matthew Williams needs to keep this one all together if he's going to claw back those last 2 tenths of a second over Jordan Weeks. Very, very close as they go round the next couple of corners. Matthew taking nice, smoother lines on this second lap than what he did first time round. What's Jordan doing just round the tighter things? He's going in nicely and he's running right the way up.
Matthew's nearly rolled it. Sorry. Okay, is he going to push too hard? Is he going to brake there, man? Everyone needs to learn to brake for that corner. God.
Oh, you've driven Lewis McGlade over the edge. Over the edge. It's chaos. It's sanity. It's chaos.
Science.
It's science. It's everything breaking.
Here we go. Oh, Matthew Williams gone deep.
Oh dear. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want a deep dish pizza after that one, because Jordan Weeks takes it by 8 tenths at 153.945. I love you, Gordon, says Roy. Not quite sure.
And now he will get KFC apparently, according to Roy. So GG, as Matthew Williams says. GG.
How much KFC can he get though if he beats the next pair that they're up against in the quarters, Cooper and DeVos?
Oh, why isn't it Christoph Liechtenstein? Because then I could have said it would be Finger Liechtenstein good.
Oh, for goodness
sake. Me.
New lows in the broadcasting booth. Lewis McGlade has decided to top himself because everyone can't handle turn one. I'm just talking shat. And then poor James is sat there going, at the end.
Good lineup next. We got Miko. See, now I'm screwing it up because you screwed it up only. it's Zokas and Toika. So there you go. Do it that way. It's easier. And Pavel Loknovsky and Paul. So Paul Watkins. So
here's a phrase for you, Simon. Finger lecken gut.
Oh,
that sounds like a porno I've seen. All I can say. Do you remember those weird little chocolate pots with the sticks on?
I do, yes.
Where have they gone in time? But yeah, it reminds me that and Ryan Walker, and that's probably the level of film that I was watching. The reason why I called Miku is because I've become obsessed with this Japanese thing called Miku Hatsune, which is what they call a Vocaloid, where it's a computerized lady that sings, and you can make your own songs, and she's got concerts and everything. Luknovsky's in the black then, Sorokas is in the white, and we're in the RSFs, which to me suspiciously look like tanks or Gotham racer cars, and they're off side by side, and I think this one could be a scary one to watch.
Yeah, these cars, not driven them, not sure whether they're understeery, oversteery. They look a bit fat, if I'm honest, and a little bit slidey, if I'm honest. I'm riding on with Miko at the moment, and
looks horrific. He's having to take so many bites of the corner, he's practically bulimic by the time he gets to the exit.
Excellent. But it's Miko and Pavel, and these two have raced together a little bit in the Super Cup, and it's 1.1, so theoretically that's 2 tenths in the advantage of Miko. Or Miku, as you might know.
Oh, and Luknovsky's taken a right double wanger into the old turn 2. It's like he's having to throttle it round the corners. This looks horrible. I'd much rather have had the carts out. It just feels all wrong to me, like a slimy lady. And it's 1.5 to Swokas at the end of lap 1.
Yeah, Miko is a very, very quick driver, and I would like to say those karts, they are really good fun. Top the top the practice session in a kart, so feels proud. They are really quick though, those karts.
Raised you as champions. As here they come round again on the third quarter to come to an end. It's a bit like where they say that cheesecake serves 6 and you just laugh your head. Soroka's still up front from Luknovsky just about, but it's looking tight, and Sorokas appears to not be taking quite so many goes at the corners now and a bit more smoother, whereas Luknovsky's relying very much on throttle steering to get round, and I think Sorokas has got the quicker version of it at the moment.
Yeah, there's a fine balance when driving the cars, and
Miko's
in the final corner!
No, Luknovsky's then gone off in sympathy slightly, but wins with a 158.753.
Wow.
As the cars get slower.
Miko will hate us now. That is the curse of the commentator right there. Wow. Wow.
Astonishing. And from
We've ruined it.
Mind you, Miko pulled off we don't expect mistakes from Sirkas because we just don't. He seems so faultless, but I remember specifically in the Japanese Super Cup race, he was battling for third to the lead, and he binned it out of nothing. So maybe it's pressure that gets to him. I don't know.
Well, he caught the rear left on the curbing. I've said time and time again, these curbs are evil. They are properly evil. Like, they make the ones in Braga look nice. They're awful.
They're curbs only mothers could love. Oh, hello. It's Walker Senior.
Walker Senior.
It is indeed.
Paul Watkins, who I will just call Paul Watkins now because I don't think he took nicely to me calling him Wookie. And Timu Toika, and everyone loves the Timu, and if he does win this whole thing, I will replay the Timu song. Timu's in the white, Watkins is in the black. And we're not doing this at Watkins Glen.
Oh, shush.
Oh, goodness.
Ah, don't judge me. Don't judge me. I have a lonely life.
We are racing at Watkins Glen on the ITC calendar, though.
Yes, then you
Amazing.
can walk her all over the place.
There, you could walk all over him. Ah, where's Toika doing well over the hill?
Oh,
Over
it looks
the bump.
like Paul Watkins has got a slight advantage here.
He has. He's been a slow
And
burner.
By slight, I mean huge.
Yeah.
Okay, 2/10 between him on the first quarter.
Beautifully done there by Paul Watkins, who is very much flying the flag for the senior drivers, because he used to be a father and son team back in the old GRC days. His son hasn't come over with him, I don't think, into GPVWC, so he's flying the flag.
Done a couple
and he's
of
doing
races.
a damn good job.
John's done a couple of races, I remember.
Wow, that's just disgraceful. Make him come back. Ground
2.4
him.
between them, 2.5 between them even, as
Wow.
they finished their first in full lap. So
But Timu ahead.
Timu ahead, is it? I'm
It
confused
was
now.
for me. It keeps swapping around, but it looked like Toika
Yeah.
was ahead from Watkins there. So I don't know if Watkins has had some kind of issue whilst I was jabbering away. I should just shush.
I'm now confused. I think Timu is leading, and it's just the I'm confused with where this computer's going now.
He's
Freaking out.
He's leading on the live timings by about
Okay.
1.6.
Okay, so there we go, everyone. He's leading. Timu is leading. Maybe I misread it, or maybe.
No, he was ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Then
I'm confused.
just life happened.
Life
Sadly.
happened, and Timu's going to win this.
Timu is stonking round, and the Toika has been Timu'd. He wins with a 1:54.910, 5 seconds faster. 4 seconds faster than the previous round, and Watkins comes home with a 1:59.5, which would have been right on for battling for the win of the other one. And I think that's harsh sometimes when you quite clearly find yourself in a different league of drivers around you. You just think, oh, come on, put me down to the special league with Simon in, and I would do not too bad.
Put me down to the special league with Simon. Is that the one that I race in?
Yeah, but everyone still laps
are you
means-
saying something controversial?
I'm not saying.
Are you bullying?
It's lovely in the Formula Challenge.
Exactly.
I love my Formula Challenge, although if we could sort out, please, the fact that I can't make tyres last for more than 7 laps, that would be love. Thanks. Please,
That would be lovely indeed. But Paul Watkins and Miko Suokas in the cars against each other, and hopefully Miko won't throw this one away on the final corner.
We shall soon find out. So Sawokas, will he be swerving around the last couple of corners? Paul Watkins in the middle.
Goodness
Now he's
sake.
had one warmed up. You love it. You love it.
I
You
love it
this
really,
terribleness.
but I love it really, but God, you're terrible.
I can hear you groaning inside. Rokas gets slightly better off the line. I used to take my commentary seriously, and then everyone else got promoted to real commentary seats, and I'm still here. So I've just decided, you know what? Let's just go with the comedies and the fails.
I used to take it seriously, and then you became my team manager.
That's what happened to life. Alex Cooper, I used to manage. He was in
Oh.
my team. He was in my team Utoikas. So Rokas looking quite nifty around that first quarter. By the way, 2.3.
Wow, that's hefty.
That is. I tell
Miko's
you,
looking good.
Don't get many of them to the pound.
I think it's slightly a case of Swokas being very quick and Watkins being slightly off the pace.
Watkins is stuck.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Wow, Watkins is.
Mounting
Now-
the barrier.
I've done that on. Now this could be interesting because Miko's about to come round the corner. Oh, here we
Do
go.
it.
Here we
Do
go.
it.
Go on, Miko. Slow down a little bit. I bet he's just sort of like looking and going, "What on earth is going on here?"
How has he managed to get? Maybe the car is it stuck on the
It's
curb?
low. The car is low down. And it's just got stuck on a curb. I did it in the car in the in the practice
no.
session. So that's a real big shame for Watkins. He's trying to get it out. So I admire his.
Do it.
I admire it. I admire it.
There is
He's
something
got
to
his
be said for
determined.
trying.
Well, this is what I've been told is that there's never a point in giving up. It's just not worth it. So he's keeping going, and I mean, that's got to be
Here.
really, really bad.
Miko, if he's got any gentlemanly stuff
He'll
about
help
him, will
him.
come round again and knock him off. Yeah.
Well, here he goes to win.
Yes, indeed, lovely win there. 155.834. So a better
He's not
time
going to help him
second
out.
time.
Come on, Miko.
Be a gentleman. No,
Miko!
Miko, come on.
Slap
Paul's
on the
just
wrist
got
for
himself-
you.
Yeah, restart. Never
Good
mind,
effort,
Paul. Timu versus Pavel. Up next, and that incident there reminds me of one of my. I don't even want to
Don't
repeat
read that
what
one
Timu's put on there. That's such a Timu comment. That's why we love him dearly, although not quite the same love as what he's demanding in the. Reminds me of the time in my highest ever finish in a Formula Sim racing race. I know that's a dirty word to say here, where I managed to get stuck in the gravel and then get stuck on a curb and then managed to get back stuck in the gravel trying to get back off the curb and then got stuck on the curb trying to get back off again. About 3/4 of a lap later around Adelaide, I rejoined.
Yeah, but I will say this, is that if you were racing in... hang on, we're about to
Green,
get
white,
going.
Luknovsky and black, by the way. It's like roulette. It's like ITV when you get to those dodgy hours in the morning and they've got those horrible... This is Luknovsky. He's part of the black. He's on the checkers. Yes. Good luck, everyone. And spin the ball. Spin the ball.
Maybe you should go for that job. It sounds good.
I should do, because they always have a really overexcitable camp person that does all the lead-ins. They go, "Oh look, it's Caffey 69 back with us again. You put on 60p. Ooh, send us a tweet. Oh, love. Really, man up."
Well,
You're
talking
quite
of
right
manning
with that
up,
between Psycho.
Timu is absolutely pushing for it.
Pavel
Pavel
won't
is
like
no
that.
slouch. Pavel is no slouch. That's just showing how fast Timu is in these cars.
Definitely, and this is battle of the filthyites, because both of them have got probably the dirtiest minds ever on TeamSpeak. Never ever open an attachment from either of them. It will change your life.
You have talked to Parker before.
No. Parker gets his best moves from that. As Luknovsky, did he hit the wall there?
Yeah, he did hit the wall.
One again.
Learn to brake for that corner.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay, McLean. It's fine. I'm going to put you in therapy me afterwards. But Timu's got it by the looks of it, by quite a way. Because Luknovsky's done it a little bit wrong again as they come into the fourth and final quarter.
See,
Get your
Timu
maths
does
right.
it good. See, Timu brakes and takes the late apex. That's how you're supposed to be doing it, as opposed to just charging for the wall.
Saying you just a line as Luknovsky nearly does a Watkins.
You don't want to get stuck on these curbs. We've seen what happens.
Especially in these weirdo cars as Toyka comes round the final curve and yoinks it with a 154.473. Nicely done, Luknovsky. A 157.877. Amazingly, actually faster than what he'd done first time round, I think. So, shame there for Pavel, but you've been Timu'd.
Yeah, well, Timu is a good driver. Obviously, taking a couple of wins in Lime Rock in the Masters, and was in championship contention for that until a couple of races from the end in Simmons. So he's done well this year as Timu. So there you go. Timu and Miku are the ones who now see. I've literally messed it up. I hate that driver
In
pairing.
your head, Miku.
Yes, those two are the two that progress.
I have a little message through on Facebook from the big man himself, Will Panisi.
Oh God!
And
I'm sorry, we've brought
and
your
he says-
broadcast into disrepute.
he says here, nothing like spending an evening listening to Simon Smith's silky voice. Innuendo never sounded this good.
Do you have any jobs going, Will? I could help India fill the force.
Excellent. Well, it's Ruud Heesterbeek now and Mikhail Chumala.
Oh, yes.
So this one will be...
Oh, this is our last group as well.
Oh,
It is.
How rude.
Time
Already?
flies. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yes. I was told this is going to be 3-hour romp. Thank God for that. Oh, it's running out of puns. Ruud Heesterbeek on the outside. Oh no, he's not. He's on the inside, and Mikhail Tumala is on the outside in the black. And Heesterbeek gets a rocket launch off the line compared to Mikhail Tumala and takes the inside quite nicely, but then decides to mount himself over the curb.
Mikhail Chumala is taking a really, really inside line for his first turn. And Heesterbeek is, well, I've not seen what he's been doing. He's pushing hard. Obviously, was the Super League runner-up this year, and so is a damn good driver. And it's looking like the advantage is towards Ruud at the moment.
Come across the line, it is a 0.9 between them. So, judging by our flawed science, that is game the Beakster. And Tumala a little bit angular around some of the corners. These guys seem to be a little bit more uncontrol with this SRF car, which I have to say does look a bit of a demon to drive. And I wonder why they've chosen to go for these types of cars. I don't know if that was laid out before them that they had to go for these types, as Tumala smacks the outside wall at the end of lap 1 and is 1.6 behind the Beak.
Yeah, Hester Brick, well done. Wow. Never mind. I'll gloss over that one. But yeah, Ruud's driving this car really, really nicely at the moment, and is just keeping it under control. Because I think, like with these cars, it's keeping it under control, and that's where the time is, as opposed to pushing it to the limit. I know they're really close to the moment, but this is ending a half lap. So Ruud's looking pretty good for this one.
He is. Tumala keeps bashing that outside final corner, both on the inside and on the outside lanes. Needs to curb that one because that could very well cause him problems.
Did you know in the real race champions that would be a DQ?
Really?
Yep. If you touch the ball, that's disqualification from the race.
God, no one would make it round on this.
No. Nope.
That would be me going round in second gear, going trollololololol as Ruud Heesterbeek gives Mikhail Tumala a very rude awakening indeed. We're 154.279, 2.8 clear of Mikhail Tumala, and I think that's the fastest heat we've had in the SFRs so far. SRFs so far.
SFR.
SR.
FSR.
FSRFs. CFCs.
The
Spray the goddamn mooses.
The Swift.
The Schiff.
The Swift.
Indeed.
Short Shrift. Too many letters. Too many places. Doing things to me.
Oh, hush you. It's Menno, Clont and Mark Stanton this time.
Yay!
Mark Stanton. Oh, no Gatewood. That's a shame.
Ah.
Aw, where's the other Stantons? I missed the Constance. Poor Constance. R.I.P. Not constant anymore.
Oh.
Pretty inconstant.
Yeah, in limbos. Clont is in the black. Stanton is in the white. Be a very sticky mess potentially by the end of it, because both of them have been involved in many an accident during my time commentating, and hopefully they will not make a right old clont up of it. Over we go, and Stanton beautifully away there compared to Menno, and goes beautifully round the inside of turn 1, and Clont is already clumping the wall. Just about got away with it, but that is a very wild rear end that will need a little bit of taming.
Yeah, don't forget with these guys is that they've not driven the car since the practice session really earlier on, so this track's kind of not really burnt into their memory. And so when it comes to closeness between the two of them, we've got 0.5. So Mark Stanton's looking pretty good for this one.
Definitely. That's a really interesting point to make, actually, is that obviously they're in the observer throughout all of this. They're having to practice. Oh, sorry, they have to practice beforehand, but they're not allowed. They just sit there watching. And there's very much a disadvantage for going right at the very end, because you are cooled down, you're not warmed up for it, and there's only so much of looking at someone's line that you can deal with, as Stanton looks like he's well ahead by a whole 1.2 at the end of the first lap.
But yeah, you're absolutely right with that, Smithy. You know, you need to be able to feel the car through the corners as opposed to watching what someone else is doing. Watching what someone else is doing is only really beneficial when you know how their car feels. And you know, they're focusing on their own cars, and so that's not really something that is a luxury to them. But Mark Stanton is managed literally is coming back on this just a little bit, but nowhere near enough, I don't think.
So Clont into his final quarter. of his cheesecake mix. Not quite up to
Is that what we're calling
Stanton's
it?
level. I do love a cheesecake. What is the point of getting a family cheesecake that serves 6 when quite clearly me and the other half can do half each? Oh, Stanton gets a little bit of a double love nudge into one of the tighter corners. We're going to have to name some of these. And Stanton's got it all a bit wrong in the last 2 corners. That's given Clont half a sniff. And what can Menno do? Not enough. It is Stanton at 155.924. Half a second ahead of the Clontage.
Well, if you want to name some of the corners, the one that Mark Stanton's currently at, so the turn one of the inner track, I'll call that one break now.
Break, turn, twist.
break, turn, twist.
And it shouldn't just be break necessary. It should be break in capital letters.
So there we go. That's the name for that corner. Rude and Menno.
Yeah, so if Rude wins this, they're through.
Yeah.
Oh, my new Twitter hashtag would be for Force India, as they've not signed their drivers yet. Maldonado don't.
Maldonado don't.
Talk, unfortunately, that he's going to Lotus.
Race. Mind you, if he can do it, so can I. It's Rude Heasterbeek on the outside.
Is that really
in
true?
white.
Oh, yeah.
We can dream in our sleep. Menno Clont's on the inside. I'll tell you about a dream that I have about Formula 1 afterwards.
Oh, okay.
It's Formula 1 related, I do promise.
Okay.
Heasterbeek gets away a little bit better than Clont initially and takes a beautiful inside line. And he stays well clear of that white line, but has such a smooth curvature round that long twisting corner. Don't see him taking half stabs at the aggressive nature of the steering. And that should pay dividends over the course of the lap if he can continue that up.
Yep, as we said, throughout the day, this has been a tough track, and in these cars, they've looked pretty nasty. But Rude, who is an experienced driver by a long way, has got a 2.1 second lead at the moment over Menno Clont. So it's all looking good for Rude and his team to move on to the quarterfinals or the semi-finals, or however whichever one it is. Is it the semi-finals?
They're all getting
semis.
Quarters.
So it's quarters. So it's quarters, then semis, then finals, not semis, then quarters, then finals. I always forget. It's because, generally the only
Like
really
the
time I know
pie.
that is for football and football.
Oh, get out.
We're
1
actually
second.
in one of the homes of football because it's Wembley.
It is, yeah. In fact,
That's all right. We've
they playing there today?
motorised it.
yes.
We've motorised Wembley.
So Heasterbeek a second up on Clont to his final lovely little lappage that is going on. Quite nice, isn't it? Everyone gone quiet.
Sorry, I was just Mike was just talking to me, and I was just like,
Focus, Lewis. I can't.
I
see
can't.
It.
No.
I can't handle this subpar.
leave my subpar commentary alone. Andres has already talked to me enough about it.
No, it's been a pleasure. Actually, I've not commentated with either of you.
No.
I don't think,
No.
beforehand, so it's been a new lovely experience. As Heasterbeek comes across the line, Clont pulls back ever so slightly, but we're still 1.6 behind, and that means the Beakster is through, and he's straight away pulling into the middle of the circuit to enjoy that one.
I will say something that I noticed with Clont when he was driving this is when it was on the downshift, as we are actually having Mark and Michael Chimala going up against each other for reasons.
Yes,
because we still have to have this.
Yes.
But when he was shut up, our factor man. when they go into the braking zone, is that it looked like he was constantly losing the back of the car. So it's under braking and then the back steps out. So maybe obviously brake bias a little bit too rearward, but there's not really anything you can change on it. It's just something to point out that car looked a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, and because obviously there's very little setup change that they can do, it does kind of... I've always been an advocate for thick setups because then I can't bugger it up further than what it can be, Stanton on the outside, Sumala on the inside. But some people are dead against it because they need to have a setup tailored to their need to be fast. And Stanton, again, rocket start compared to Tumala, and the old Mikal needs to go catchy-uppy.
Yeah, these cars, they don't half tilt when going through the corners, don't they? But
Back corners as well, so that must be really difficult on a car that's so low to the ground.
Yeah, it's just kind of swaying, motion sickness, swaying. It's like driving a boat, swaying. But looks like Mark Stanton has got the drive over Michael Chimala, who clips the wall on the outside. Yes, he does. 2.1 seconds between them. And I don't know if Mark Stanton was braking for brake.
Timana's in the wall. He's lost his front bumper.
He's lost quite an important bit of that car.
That car is looking a little bit Lego-ish.
It does. It does look like a Lego car.
It looks like one of those that you have to then pull back and then let go, and it goes. Micro Machines coming in packets of 5 or whatever it is. But yeah, looking a little bit funky. I do like the neon green of the
suspension.
Yes.
And that's the roll cage, isn't it? That's green.
Yes, Roll Cage. That's another good game. That needs a comeback. Roll Cage. PS1 games. Retro. Showing my age. Oh no! Hitting 30 next year. Never good. Stanton is leading the way, and I don't think Mark Stanton has heard that for quite some time because he's had to struggle around in that old constant. And this is good to see actually that Mark Stanton, on his own terms, in a car that is equal to everyone else's, can actually show some decent pace that has been hidden from us for quite some time.
Indeed.
Am I right in saying that this will be the only clean sheet from a team tonight as well?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
Awesome.
possibly.
These two then are looking pretty good for moving on, but obviously with the different cars, who knows?
Marla comes back slightly towards the end, but it's still 1 second advantage. Stanton let it close up there. Tumala comes through in the old second position. Yes, it is our only 4-0 win of the night. Thanks to Dave Carr-Smith, who has been our fantastic steward this evening. So you are right there, James. Fantastic. You've kept the science going.
I certainly have, and so perhaps we could just confirm the 4 primary lineups you'll see tomorrow. So we've got Tapper and Johnson versus Muscat and Niemanen, Ranieri and Bell versus Jacobs and Hamnet, Cooper and DeVos versus Weeks and Stroughton, and finally Sukas and Toyka versus Heastbeek and Stanton. One of those pairs will be winning the 2013 Teams Championship at the Race of Champions.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I am practically salivating.
Ooh, yummy.
Exactly. Everyone grab yourself a steak right now. Highlights of the evening, guys?
Pardon?
Highlights of the evening, guys.
Lucas Euler going not as quick as I thought he was.
Aww.
That still just amazes me. That I mean, maybe this is the thing that we said with all the different cars. It's interesting. It's just moving on. It kind of seems to be like lucking into the right car, if that makes it the right car for you, lucking into the one that you can drive. And,
how very Hamilton of you.
Yeah.
And Vettel, rather.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting tomorrow to see who does end up to be the 2013 champion of the Race of Champions.
Exactly. And then we kick off after that with the singles.
Individuals, yes.
Individuals, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun. James, your highlights of the evening?
I think I'll agree with Lewis in the fact that I'm surprised Euler went out so early, but I think I'll also agree with you on the final point. Lovely to see Mark Stanton on his own terms, not in a car hindered by a lack of downforce, showing that he really does still have the speed to compete with the best. And given that him and Rude were the only team to pull off a 4-0 win against a team which are no slouches by themselves, Tumala and Klomp, both very competent drivers, yeah, I'd say definitely watch out for them.
Nico DeConnick has just asked, when are you doing the promised Timu song? Not only does that sound like I've now started off a religious cult, I did say it is when he wins. So, Nico, you have to cheer on your favourite Finnish friend. Make sure that he brings home a championship, team or singles, I don't care. Then a song may be played. I've all had enough of my khaki songs for the evening. I think we've got...
I like your khaki songs.
Aww. It looks like everyone's staying up top and no one's going to be coming for an interview. So, I think we may very...
It's alright.
Dave may be on a little wandery path for it.
Yeah.
Yep, Dave's going to go and see if anyone fancies a quick old chatteroo about it. Why not? He's been a good help this evening.
Oh, Scott's here and JJ's here and...
Oh,
they will be here in a minute. But, so we've got 2 people. Timu! You can sing the Timu song to Timu.
That would be amazeballs. Don't forget, we'll be back just whilst everyone's getting sorted out tomorrow from about 7:15, 7:20ish British Standard Time, where we'll be taking through the finales of the team, as well as the start of the individuals, and that'll be finishing on the Thursday, where I do promise I will have alcohol.
Awesome.
Yay!
So will anyone else who's commentating with me at that time as well. I'm not sure
I will not have alcohol.
I know, because you don't drink, do you?
I don't drink, no.
What did you just eat?
A bit of sellotape. Just ignore.
Oh, it's sticky. Anyway, we've got some peoples in this chat rooms. I think we should get down to asking some questions, and I'm going to lay back and relax because I hold too much of this evening. Down to you guys.
Right then, well, perhaps we can start off then with one of the first people to get through to the quarterfinals. James Johnson, paired with Dowie Tapper, fellow Vodball man. How do you feel the evening went overall for you? I mean, you know that Tapper lost his first race, but do you two feel comfortable with what you have coming up for you tomorrow? You're up against Muscat and Neiman, very strong team there.
Yeah, I've just got to say, I love those buggies. God, they're so fast off the line. But yeah, Dowie kind of put the pressure all on me just to keep us in it. But I think I did all right. I had a few scrapes with the wall here and there on my first go, but I kept it together and thankfully won both my rounds, and then Dowie won his one, so we went through.
And looking at the other teams that have gone through, who are you most scared about?
I don't know actually. There's a lot of good pairings out there. If I had to say one, it could be Rude and Danton. But you pretty much you can't really pick because we've got Ari and Jason, and then those slouches. So, and depending on what car tomorrow, it could be topsy turvy.
And presumably, we're expecting that you two will won the buggy then for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Been screaming buggy at me all night on Skype. So, well, best of luck to you and Dowie for tomorrow, and we'll see you then.
I'll dive in very, very quickly.
All gone.
James, I'm coming through your way quite soon. That's no pun intended. What's the best way to get hold of you in case we end up in a pub?
You can either get me on Facebook, Skype, anything.
Okay. So if I just say like I'm in the pub, there is more than one pub where you live, but
yeah.
I'm into pub. I shall let you know. Okay, just.
But yes, James Johnson coming to a pub near you.
Awesome
stuff. Right, we now move on to Scott Cervic. Hello, Scott. Now we were actually really interested in how you were going to do today because we were talking, over like quick one lap sort of sessions. You are a very, very fast driver, and paired up with Tom Parker, it was looking all good, but unfortunately just pipped by Ranieri and Bell in the end. Were they simply too strong?
Ranieri was, but I don't feel like Mike was because I was a bit too soft in the braking. First half a lap, too, and that just gave me a puncture on the right front. But that happens, and it is quite a dangerous track out there, so a bit unfortunate. And I did apologise to Parker, so I think it's a bit unfortunate for both of us. But I'm just gonna have to wait until I get the. I'm just excited for day 3 now.
Absolutely, and I mean, there's always next year, surely. Have you at least enjoyed trying out all the different cars?
Yeah, I have actually, but it's been a bit topsy-turvy for me this season with all kinds of things happening during the races, but I do feel I do have some pace, and hopefully I will be there as a seeded driver next year. So we'll just have to wait for that.
Absolutely, and best of luck to you as well, Scott, the most Scottish-sounding Norwegian on the GPVWC. And actually, we got Mike Bell in the room, the team that beat Scott and Tom. Mike, I chose you and Giuseppe as the team who I thought personally would make it all the way. I mean, it must. Did you ever feel intimidated when you were selected as Giuseppe's teammate? Because I mean, he's a very quick driver, isn't he?
Yeah, I knew he was going to be a lot faster than me, and I expect, he is one of the fastest drivers in GPVWC. So it's a case that if we were going to get through, he was going to have to, pull most of the team's weight. But I think I did all right today. Unfortunately, in my race against Parker, that I spun it on the curb really early on, like the third lap or so. But yeah, well.
There's always time to repent, Mike, and tomorrow your first matchup is against Thomas Jacobs and Harley Hamnet. How do you rate yours and Giuseppe's chances against those two? Because I think they were very similar. They sort of had one very stable, consistent, fast driver, and then Harley was there sort of making mistakes. Do you think you can capitalise on that?
Well, I'm probably the slowest driver left in the Race of Champions, and Giuseppe is arguably the fastest. So, if a case that if it does go to a tiebreaker, then can hopefully rely on Giuseppe to pull us through. But I'll try my best and take what happens.
And what car will you be hoping for tomorrow then to try and make that happen?
Probably the Lupo actually.
Lupo, tin top.
Yep. Always
Simon.
like the front wheel drive hatchbacks.
Simon, are you wanting to say anything?
Awesome.
There we go. What a great input. Well, thank you very much, time for your. Thank you very much for your time, Mike, and best of luck with tomorrow.
Thanks.
Right, let's now move on to Timu. Now, the last time I interviewed Timu, I didn't get much out of you, but perhaps we could get 1 or 2 words from you this time. Partnered with Sukas, you got through. Good?
Yes.
Oh, here we go again.
There we go. Do you think you will get to the final?
It looks pretty good, but I just saw that we are facing Rude and Mark in the next quarterfinal. So I think it will be tough, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, certainly, I would say my most anticipated battle for tomorrow at least. And do you at least think you have a good teammate in Sukas? We know he had that mistake in the first race, but otherwise he's been looking mighty fast.
Yes, he's really fast, and I'd be disappointed if we didn't get through Rude and Mark.
Alright, well, thank you very much for your time, Timu, and best of luck with tomorrow to you as well. And then finally, we have Mr. Roy Schroten, who of course got through with Jordan Weeks in that tie battle with Van der Voort and Williams. You're up against Cooper and De Vos in the quarterfinals tomorrow. How do you rate your chances there?
I think we can do it. If Bud doesn't flip over his car again, we might have a nice battle. And I teamed up with Alex last year, so I know how he's driving, but it should be fun.
And which of the cars suits you and Jordan best, or are you two actually differing on opinions in cars? Because we've seen both of you excel in different leagues, but yeah, it seems that you both seem actually quite comfortable in the car you're using today.
Yeah, I like it, but I haven't really driven with the other cars, but I guess that as long as it's black, it will be fine.
Just take it as it comes.
Yeah.
Excellent news. Right, well, best of luck to you as well tomorrow, and that is all our interviewees, Simon.
Oh, well, any last final words of wisdom before we sign off, James and Lewis?
Well, I'm just going to say that we've got an interesting finale coming up tomorrow. We've got a few teams who may have an easier path than others into the semi-finals. When you look at who they're up against, but it's, as I said, this is all going to come down to what cars are being picked out for who, and that's going to play really heavily as to who's going to be moving on. And well, I wouldn't even know who's going to be going down to the final.
Yeah, my piece of advice is don't count out anyone. Euler and Liechtenstein were kicked out today. If the double world champion and the 2013 Race of Champions winner were knocked out this round, who knows who else could be knocked out?
Yeah, indeed. And that's all for this evening's broadcast. Thank you very much for watching and tuning in. Thank you for surviving with the cameras as well. I know it's all been a little bit wonky this evening. So, just to leave us before we join you again tomorrow, about 7:15 to 7:30 on BST, we have a little...
Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh, yes. That almost sounded like, you know, when you start a Muppets song and everyone goes, "Oh no."
I could always pull out my guitar and we could have a jamming session at the end of the broadcast, but that's not going to happen for a while.
No.
No.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.